Well, yeah, here we are. What's up, Brian?
Doing doing good, man. It's been, I feel like I was gonna say it's been a long time since we connected, but we were just on a call doing men's work stuff just, 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah. So that's an interesting thread that already takes me down, man. Yeah, dude, it's just talking about honestly our relationship and how we met and going down that route a little bit and seeing where that takes us because well, Brian, what you just alluded to is like, yeah, what we were doing before this with our Rising Man call and doing with the senior captaincy and stuff. So yeah, dude. When did we meet? It was like 3 years ago?
I was just trying to think about the context, and I think I've seen your name on because, I was a senior captain before you, and I saw your name on the teams, and I think we always cross paths, like, on calls, like, with Jetty or community calls and whatnot,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to think I've probably seen you there for sure, but I think first, once, you were brought on as to lead, like, the men's community, that's when we first met, so we have about 3 years ago, right around there.
Yeah, dude. I remember I was working on a farm. I was working on a farm in Georgia and Jetty messaged me and he was like, "Yo, dude, I need someone for senior captaincy and you are top of my list." And I was like, "All right.
Yeah.
This is dope."
Sounds about right.
Yeah, man. No, so that's definitely how we met. It's like 3 or 3.5 years ago. So since then, dude, it's been a long, long journey of just like me and you like figuring out this captaincy space, right? And working with men. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been super interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the captaincy and kind of what we were talking about, like on our call, just a moment ago, is it's the overall leadership. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we although yes, it's captaincy in the community, is the way we do our work and the way you show up is how we do one thing, is how we do everything. So actually, there's so much content in my mind with you. It's like, God, we lived a lot of life together. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's been 3 years, like chronologically, but it feels like I've known you for like forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's the transition, it's the leadership, it's your training, it's your work, it's the relationship stuff of you living in Brazil and coming back to Texas. It's all the things. Like, I have so much experience with you.
Bro, that is so true. That is very true. I just thought about that. Like, if we look at like you said, chronological timeline at 3 years, how much has actually happened from year one together to now, and us kind of parting our ways as I'm stepping down as senior captaincy, but obviously still staying connected. But like, yeah, year one, I'm literally living on a farm out in Georgia, like living in the woods, and that's a whole nother story. But yeah, man, and you were still in Spain, and I remember seeing the stuff you were posting like on Facebook and stuff, and I can't remember if it was like relationship
Yeah.
oriented. I think that's what
Yeah.
you were doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
relationship oriented stuff, and I remember thinking, I was like, dude, this guy is fucking cool as shit.
Yeah.
Like. I loved what you were doing, and then you would post your workouts and stuff sometimes. But yeah, dude, this transition of year one to year two, and then this very end, like you coming back, and then I'm like going on my own big adventure as well. Like I feel like you moved back at the same time, similar time as like moved from Spain to the US. At the same time as I'm diving more into this big journey with Seder for me, which has been a huge fucking thing. And I know your thing has been huge too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's also looking at like, I swear, and this happens with a lot of people I work with, right? It's like, and get close to, it's like, um, our timelines match up more than we think.
Yeah.
And I think this may be astrological too. It's like what's happening in the stars, like what's influencing us. So big things happen similar times, right? But
Yeah.
that's what's been cool about also like being in this container with you within Rising Man is like I'm seeing you go through your like heavy stuff and like big transformations while I'm also doing the same for myself. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just really cool to see how the universe like links us up like that, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I believe like we're in a container together. It's meant to be, right? It's this
Mm.
container of like, hey, God. I look at it like, okay, God is like putting if you want to look at it like it's kind of funny, like chess pieces. Like
Mm.
it's like,
Mhm.
all right, this guy, you need to be next to this guy right now in order for this to happen in the future. So it's like for even like these conversations right now, if I wouldn't have been in the container with you, it would have never happened, right? And
Mm,
now it's so I look at it as like God is putting people in our presence for a reason. And like now I could have also said no to you, like being like, hey bro, you want to do these talks? You want to, and I could have said no to a lot of things. But
yeah.
because I listened, like, because when you've offered things to me before and I've said no, but I was listening and my body was like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude. So it's like that. I guess that's something really important to state is like, as people come into our lives, pay attention. Okay, it's like
Yeah.
this person, like, let's connect, let's talk, let's chat, and like, anyway, dude, that overall, it's like being open to what God is putting into our fields. So yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of like that's cool how that unfolded there. But yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
got.
But you know what? I mean, it's great to tap into that because I think you're touching on something that we experience a lot doing a lot of men's work where, you know, we help and support and guide men to their own authenticity, right? To trust
Right.
themselves and to be connected, mind, body, spirit. Instead of piece you're talking about the intuition and God and whatnot. I'm curious for you though, like on your journey, if you go back, it could be 3 years when we crossed paths or even before that. How did you develop or learn to hone in to trust that? Because as you know, the work you do, especially in nature and going back to your roots, it's like there's so
Yeah.
much distraction and noise. It's kind of hard to tap into that frequency, you know. So how did you get there?
Okay, that's interesting because remember I told you I love that thread because I just told you when we met, when we came together in the captaincy container, I was out in the woods, sleeping in the woods on a farm, working on a farm, right? And I was reading this book called The Journey by Tom Brown Jr. And basically now that with the knowledge I have now, I realize he was on the path of a shaman and learning from a Native American elder. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic. But what I'm trying to say is from that book, he had this suggestion of how to tap into your intuition. And I took it to heart because it was essentially what I learned from him was that it's going inward and like learning what is a yes, what is a no. Okay, so for example, when you offered this to me, because I'm really experienced with it now, I could literally feel that it was opening. And an opening in my chest is a yes, and that is my intuition. Now, how did I develop that? Is I practice. I literally like even with just little decisions, like what do I need to eat today, or something like that. Like where do I want to go today, and like literally like okay, so I'll close my eyes when I was first practicing. Now I can do it with my eyes open. But because you're right, the noises, right? There's a lot of like outward noise and there's a lot of inner chatter in the mind, right? So there's a lot of steps to this, but it's the main thing is I would get present with myself and I would talk to myself. Like literally like, okay, should we take this job? What about this? And then I would just like feel, okay, that's a tightening. Okay, this is an opening. And then I follow that thread, right? So the more I've done that, the more I can trust it. And the more I do my other work too, my shadow work and clearing out my energetic channels, like physically, mentally, emotionally, getting all the noise out. Now I can look you in the eye with my eyes open and still pay attention. I can still
Yeah,
feel it, right? So
yeah,
the first steps for anyone listening to this who's interested in this is like the first step is learning how to get present with yourself so that you can actually start practicing, right? So that can look like it's a lot of ways, but just simply creating quiet time, even if it's 5 minutes, just quiet time, no phone, just with yourself and start to breathe. And in that moment, just talk to yourself. Okay. It's like, okay, yeah. What about this tomorrow? Should I go to the movies? Should I go to, and you're gonna notice like there's gonna be this just a faint little feeling like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. And when you start listening and just practicing, even with little decisions, you move up to bigger decisions. And then you realize, oh wow, my body is really smart because hindsight is 2020, right? You'll look back and be like, "Oh my God, I'm glad I made that decision." Or you'll feel the no in your body, you'll feel the no and you'll do it anyways, and you'll look back and be like, "Wow, I should have listened." You know? And
Mm.
I've had those moments too. Like, small example here, I'm eating and my body literally says stop eating, but I continue to do it. And what do you know? I'm lethargic, I'm tired, my stomach kind of hurts afterwards. I'm like, wow. And that's a small example, but that's actually a big example because your body's always communicating with you, right? So I'd say that's really how I developed it, man, was like taking these little small increments of like, okay, small decisions. And now I make it for big decisions. I'm trying to think of the most recent one where I've really checked in with my body and been like, it's been a big thing. An interesting one was actually me and my girlfriend were looking for a cabin for my birthday this year in March, and she was struggling to kind of find something, and she wanted to help me, right? Because it was my birthday, she wanted to help find the place. And I told her I would like, let me check it out, let me check out the options. And by literally just using my intuition on Airbnb, I found the dopest freaking place for it within our budget. That with hours of searching, she had never seen this place, and it's
Mhm.
because like I tapped into that and started like with the places she showed me. I was like, okay, no, no, I feel a tightness with that one. Oh, I feel a tightness with that one, and then I kept following the threads of my intuition. And all of a sudden, my body lit up when I looked at one. I was like, this is the one. And I press
Mm.
on it. It's the right budget. It's an awesome place. So that's just another example of just recently, like it's just getting stronger and stronger for me. So yeah, man, I forget your original question, but that's where I've come from 3 years ago, 3.5 years now, probably 4 almost to now. Yeah.
Well, let me say this because I appreciate you unpacking that, and I want to actually go back to the roots of that. And do you have a program called something Roots or Rooted?
Root to Nature is my actual like
Yeah.
business.
Okay,
So
cool,
that is my like coaching, that's my mentoring, guiding, all that.
got it. So I get what you're saying, and everyone in our community, like the men's community, will get it. But what about like the man who's like, so when do you have time to stop? Like, what's the point? For the sake of what do I want to stop and check in and close my eyes? Like I can share, some of the things I've come across with men, whether in relationships or whatnot, of why it would be beneficial. For you, what have you seen, or even more, like what caused you to start doing that? You know what I mean? I know you read the book, but what was happening in your life that said, hold on now, something's got to shift. I got to start coming inwards. I got to start listening or else, otherwise, if you didn't have a big enough an incentive, you wouldn't have course corrected. You would have just been doing the same thing as before.
Mm.
Right. So what spawned that?
Oh, this is super interesting because I mean, this brings up a lot. Let's see how I can circle this and spiral it really. Um, what inspired it, dude? So it's still in that time frame of me being on that farm. Let's see how far back I want to go. Yeah, dude. So I'm working on this farm for $10 an hour, right? Like, and it's for a reason. Like, I'm wanting to learn about farming and what the guy's doing there is an opportunity. It's close to home, so I don't have to pay for rent or anything. But I had such a big vision for my life. And this is where we can link in Rising Man, because I've been on a team for almost 2 years at this point. I've been on a team for almost 2 years at this point, right? So, and I'd done a lot of work to develop my vision, develop my like where I'm headed, right? So I'd really honed that in, and I had my team there with me too, also helping me like drive me forward. So it was like, I see the vision I want. I see this like future land of community living where people come and learn and heal and all this stuff, right? Like I have the 5-year vision, and I'm at year 1.5 or so of that vision, and I'm like, I just want to go. Like that is where I want to be. This is not my life of being a farmhand and I was also writing emails for people at that point and learning that, but like, this is not the life I want. I'm accepting it. So I had to figure out how to do stuff different. And I couldn't tell you exactly what led me to this book, what led me to this practice. I remember one man on my team literally talking about, do you know what it is in your body, a yes or a no? Like speaking to the heart, he was specifically talking about. So that sparked it too. I was like, And then I read this book, and then I was like, so that's what's interesting to me is like, okay, what's the point? What's the purpose of this? I think that's what you're asking for the man who's like
Hold on,
busy. Is like,
I do have a question on that real quick. So now, with that in mind, previously, did you feel like you had a hard time making decisions that you were confident in, or decisions you can trust, or did you have like a pattern of like making decisions like, damn, that was the wrong one, and so maybe that's what led you to that? I mean, was there a contrast?
the contrast is that I was making uninformed decisions. And
Mm,
when I say uninformed, it's like I am actually informed. So okay, how do I explain that? I actually am informed, but I'm informed by someone else, things
mm,
outside of me that are pulling me in a direction that is not my own. So that's actually what led me to this was like, okay, this guy in this book is literally walking his own path. And people like that inspired me within Rising Man too is like they're walking their path, they're making decisions based off of their heart, their own intuition. I'm like, that's what I want because I feel like people are just dragging me every other way.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's really I love that question because it brings me to the core of it is like, yeah, I was tired of other people leading my life, so I needed to find a way to trust my own compass, right? Which is great because I did Compass after living there. Like when I moved off of that farm, I went to Texas to do Compass and live on a different farm and do other work. So
Yeah. So
it was
how
really
about this?
fun.
Without diving too deep into it, just what is Compass for the people who don't know?
Yeah, Compass is a 4-day vision fast.
Yeah.
So to put it simply, 4 days, 4 nights out in nature, out in the wild or the desert, wherever it's placed. And the way I like to describe it is you're going out there to call in the vision for your life. Like, what am I, God, what am I here to do in this lifetime? And you're going out fasting so you can get silent, reduce the noise, no more noise, and just be with yourself and connect and like what is it? What am I here to do? And you take that, like you'll get hit with it, like it's this whole thing. It comes through, and then you come back to your people like this is my medicine. So
Yeah.
that's Compass to me. It's like going out and asking, what is my medicine to give to the people? And then when we come back from it, we work on getting that medicine out to the people in a
Yeah,
very
that's more what we
integrated
do.
way.
What did you do for it? What did you do with your experience?
That's exactly what I did for my
Yeah. Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. It is different for every man, but that's the context for me. Is like I went out there, I got very clear, and part of like you'll see this on my website and stuff too. Like part of the channeling info that came through was like I'm charged with a mission to lead and inspire a revolution in love and nature reconnection that will impact the next 7 generations and beyond.
Boom.
So, circling this back, because I was able to tap into my intuition and some other stuff that was happening out in the woods with me being contacted in my dreams and stuff, I was able to make the decision to leave that farm. And it made no sense at all, like financially, no sense at all. And just like leave everything, sell my truck, go to Compass, the 4-day vision fast, and at the same time, right after Compass, moved to an entirely new place, an entirely new farm. And because of that decision, and that was one of those times, like I checked in with my body, like, am I supposed to go to this farm? Like, am I supposed to do Compass? I checked in each time. And then that was like a chain reaction that led to all these experiences. And of course, there's other like pathways I took, but then it all leads to here right now, this conversation. Right. So, yeah, man, I think that's what I got on that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I want to give a reflection because as I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about people who may watch this and want to piece together pieces for themselves. One reflection I have is the amount of work you've done is you barely even remember like where you were like 3.5 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how
Yeah.
embodied and how like second nature this is to you. And I highlight that because sometimes, look, I'll speak for myself. Like before I got into my work, like really committing to the way I hear you saying it for myself almost felt unfathomable for me. It just felt like it hard, or I'm not that guy. That's for special men. That's like for guys who are like elites. Like that's not me. That can't be me.
Yeah.
Until and I had my version of like, stop that shit, Brian. Like, why are you repeating that same pattern over and over and over again? Until I, similar to you, kind of learned and taught myself to trust the process, trust
Mhm.
those little breadcrumbs and do the next thing and do the next thing. Like, oh, wow, like 5 years has passed. So for you, I want to recognize the work you've done, like to trust that. And also how you built up momentum as well, right? Like I'm hearing like, there's something about the vision. It almost sounds like your vision was, and I want to put words in your mouth, so please correct me, that this time your vision of yourself in the future was so big, almost a little bit scary, where almost it forced you to do something different. Like you like, okay, I can't do the same things before. And that like activated something in you. So before you talk into that, I do want to stress to, men, or I guess I say people, but specifically men, is be willing to have a vision that scares you. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'd say some of the times, like the biggest problems we have in society are men with small visions. It's not people like, like the dictators that we see in the world. It's the other men who have this passion right here in their heart and don't allow it to come to life. Like that's the perfect
Mhm.
antidote for the thing you don't want to see. Not trying to bitch and complain and why is this happening? Like, no, like let your vision be alive like you did. So now coming back to that, would you say that that may have been a catalyst? Like this, like maybe the first time you said, hold on now, I don't want to be making $10 an hour. I love the work that I'm doing, but not in this way. Like, bam, here's this juicy ass vision. It's like, oop, what I did before to get to this farm ain't gonna get me here. Like, is there truth to that?
Right, man. How do I word this? So, yeah, right before I came to that farm specifically, I was on another farm in California. And that's when I actually did this thing with Jetty Inferno. It was a 3-month intensive. And that is where I actually, like, he guided us through a journey and I called in my 5-year vision and saw it. And so, yeah, man, that was a catalyst because it was a big vision. And the way I was operating in life then was not going to work to get me to that vision, right? Because I was Jetty even called me a floater at one point. It's like, yeah, when you first joined, man, you're a bit of a floater. It's like, with meaning, I didn't have a vision. I was just going by the seat of my pants, letting air kind of flow, like, flowy people. And I think there's a time for that. But like, I finally grounded myself, like, stood in, if you want to imagine standing in the earth, rooted, and then like was just looking towards, we like to call it a mountain. Um, I like to call it a mountain too, because I have a vision of me literally standing on the mountain, calling people up on it. So there's the mountain, and like I'm standing on a little hill, and what it took for me to get on that little hill is not what it's going to take for me to get on that mountain. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like someone who's doing a easy hiking versus someone who wants to do like a black diamond ski, like, you know what I mean? So you got to prepare different. So what happened from that point, and I don't realize it till talking about it now, I started preparing myself to actually climb that mountain. And I've just been climbing little different peaks because every mountain has different peaks, right? So I've just been making my way up slowly, but that initial vision, which has changed a little bit, right? Like there's things about it that change, but there's still that main peak that I'm looking towards. And it's having the nature school, it's having community based around it. It's me teaching and giving my gift and like helping others heal and access their own gifts. It's still that, right? And I'm still headed there. And like I like to sometimes think I'm like, I'm almost there, you know?
Mhm.
But like I know I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and one day that vision will be reality. And then I like to call that the midlife crisis if you don't like put your sights on something else, because like I did it all. I created the vision. I have the nature school. So when that time comes, it's going to be another moment of reassessing. Okay, what's the next peak that I want to climb? You know? So yeah, dude, that was a big catalyst for me, creating that strong vision of where I want to go. And it's been driving me for the last however many years now, which is cool to think because it was a 5-year vision and it's been 4 years. And I'm closer than ever because this next year is going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's the momentum is just like, so yeah,
And
man.
I'm gonna call a little bit of bullshit on that, and I want you to push back. And the bullshit that I'm calling is, and I know you've seen this too. We've been in this the men's workspace for years. You've overseen probably more than 100, close to 200 men over your 3 years of being here. And the bullshit I want to call, and it's not particularly on you, just in the way we see vision, is you had a 5-year vision. You've done 4. You actually seen and actuated 4 of those years. But sometimes we say, I'll get it when I actually have the thing, right? Like the school hasn't come yet. But I think
Yeah.
as men, sometimes we forget, like, this ramp up is part of that. Like, you
Oh,
committing
yeah.
to the work, you stepped into leadership, like you stretching yourself, like how to support men in your community. That's part of that. And I think, like, I'll bring it back to me. And traditionally, this is where I always mess myself up, is it's like when I get the actual thing, then I'll celebrate. When I actually can,
Right.
like, put my stake on the top of the mountain, then I'll celebrate. But what I'm hearing from you, dude, is you had these different base camps, going up. Look, maybe this is not the episode for it now, but I remember you went through a pretty rough breakup, right? So the mountain you're talking
Yeah.
about is like, that was like a mini mountain within the big mountain of navigating the breakup. And then moving to a different country was a part of the mountain. And then,
Right.
doubling down on your education and, I'm not going to spill the beans, all the work you're doing, all that's part of your mountains. And so for the men out there who are listening, is like, you got to be able to conceptualize for yourself, like, what are you going for? Like, the mountain is just a metaphor. So if you're, like Brandon said, like, if business is a success thing, like, where is the goal for that? Like, what is that mountain? If relationships is it, whatever it is, your health, like,
Right.
that's part of it, is seeing that that's part of the whole process and not waiting until. So again, I won't put words in your mouth, but how do you see vision?
No, dude, that is actually similar because remember I was talking about as you go up the mountain, there's different peaks.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I like that you're talking into that because I was bad at not celebrating those peaks as well, right? But
Guilty.
now, dude, it's very different for me. And I think this is something, you're right. It's very rampant in the men's community world or men's work world of like, nah, we gotta have the big vision. If I don't complete this goal, I failed. And like, no, because the whole process is you learning and you're implementing, you're learning, you're implementing. And each time you implement successfully, like, let's celebrate, right? Like, so like you're talking about, like I had a big breakup, like, and I found my way through that with support, but I figured out how to bounce back from that. I had another breakup that like destroyed me. But I guess what? I stood up from that and continued and got stronger. So now I can look back and like say, like technically in the moment I was like, oh, I failed. I thought this was the one. Like, oh man, how am I ever gonna get where I want to go alone? All this stuff, right? Like and then all of a sudden I realized how much I learned from it. And anyways, dude, I'm right there with you on the celebrate our different peaks because this whole 5-year process, because life comes in cycles, right? So let's look at this as a 5-year cycle for me. This whole 5-year cycle has so many different peaks that I've reached and like accomplished for myself. And that is a good message for anyone listening to this. It's like, especially the new year. So this is great because we're coming into the new year. It's a good time to look back. Even if you just do this year, right? These 12 months, think about all that you've actually accomplished, right? And just speaking for myself, like actually I'm going to celebrate right now. Like I met the woman I met the woman I'm going to marry and have kids with, and like I met her in January. In also the beginning of January, I found a place it's literally called Haven. It's this land, 72 acres, where I get to practice my skills with agroforestry, help grow food out here. I get to help with workshops that we do out here, like working with helping people go inward and all this stuff, right? And like this healing place. like I found this place following my intuition. So that's a win. Like literally the beginning of January was huge. And then all these things that have happened with my partner as well, where we have just like helped each other, like excavate each other's shadows and like mirror each other and support each other in integrating these things and healing and growing and expanding. So it's like there is so, and I'm not going to go to everything about this year, but this year has just been like just exponential. And I want to bring it back to like, yeah, just even if it's the little things, like celebrate the little things, because I think that is just fuel for you to keep going, you know? But yeah, I think that's what I got on that, man.
Yeah, yeah. So there's one thing I want to share, like related to that, and then I think it's a good point for us to wrap up. And you share, like, give a little bit of how do you say this? Not a roadmap, but um, yeah, we'll say a bit of a roadmap that men can use as a mental reference, or they can go to your website and get some more information about how to do this. But the thing I want to say is, as part of that vision and ramping up, and I had to learn this, and it was really difficult for me, like a perfectionist, is on the path to that vision, especially in the beginning, it's gonna suck. Like, it's not gonna look good. Like,
Yeah.
it's something like I romanticize this stuff. Like in my mind, I was like, oh my God, it's so clear. And I'm gonna be so like jacked and so ripped and be so like stoic and all these different things. I fucked up a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the willingness to go back and recommit to that vision every single time and not give up. Because again, we've seen it time and time again where men will have this big vision. It's compelling, it's sexy, it's inspiring. And we're like, oh my God, when this man accomplishes it, the world's gonna change. But that own man's identity of how he should look doing it can stop him on that first or second or third stumble. So being willing to move through that, so that way you can do like you did, like you're on year 4 of 5 because you didn't give up on it. So with
Right.
that, I mean, is there anything like from your own experience, so that even the men you're already working with now, like how can you help give people the confidence to keep on staying committed to their vision, not if, but when like life says, nope, get back down, like, nope, it ain't gonna look good, or whatever it may be, like, what does that look like, or what could it look like for somebody?
This is interesting because everyone hits these, right? Like I've hit plenty of challenges. So thinking about, you were talking about a little bit of a roadmap. And there is actually something, I have a program, it's called the Golden Path. And the
Mm,
reason I call it that is because, okay, we have the vision, right? We have the peak we're looking at, and we're at the bottom of the mountain. So imagine you're literally a hiker who's trying to climb this mountain. You have no map, you have no GPS, you have no safety gear, and you just go into it. And I feel like a lot of men, a lot of women too, like this is for everyone. This for everyone. It's like we just go into our visions and our goals like gung ho, let's go, let's do it. Because there is a lot of adrenaline that like can run through you when you get this creative spark of a vision, right? It's like, and I call that the feminine aspect. That's like God coming through you. Like it's like this magic happens within you. It's like, oh my God, that is the vision. Let's do it. But if we don't create the path to it, when we hit those roadblocks and we have no game plan for how we're going to pick ourselves up, it's like that's where we stumble and we roll back down the mountain. I remember teaching this before. I call it safety nets. So you create the little bumpers and safety nets along the way so that you don't roll all the way back down the mountain.
yeah.
So what do those look like? It's like one, like setting up your environment. So set up your environment for success. So if your goal, your vision is to, let's just start with small right now. It's like, I want to be really in shape. I want to lose this amount of weight, whatever it is. I want to feel good in my own body. I want it. So if you need to set up your environment to help you accomplish those goals to get along to the vision, right? So you're literally like, you're you're putting, like, if you want to exercise, you put exercise equipment where you actually see it. Like if you want to eat well, you create a kitchen, a pantry that actually like supports that goal, that mission, right? Um, so it's creating these little like bumpers for yourself, right? Making sure you have support along the way. So I know that my friend Chris, I can call him up anytime and be like, dude, I'm feeling low. Like, can we just talk? If you're part of men's work, if you're part of a men's team, that's a big one that helped me, right? It's like I know every week I was coming to a call and I could be like, guys, I'm off the rails. Or guys, let's celebrate. I accomplished this. And it keeps me going along the path, right? So having the environment, which is also the people around you, the people we have access, right? And there's all kinds of, I won't go into all of it because this course is literally free. People can take it, but it's free on my school, which the link for this will be below. But yes, the golden path, because you create the roadmap for yourself, because without the roadmap, you're just going to be ping ponging.
Yeah.
And then that's how you get lost in the woods and rolling back down the mountain. So
Yeah.
hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I would say though. It's like creating that from point one to point mountain peak, trying to create a path for yourself.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't even know you had that resource already created. That's how in sync we are.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome you're doing that. And I guess I'll wrap up because again, we're gonna go ideas that we'll have more of these kind of conversations. But what I do, and this is me speaking, I think you'll align with this as well, is the importance for people to be able to move through those hard times to fulfill their vision. Because
Yeah.
again, if I personally were to take a step back and look at the world in my lifetime and my generation in the history books, and we always say, well, how did we let these bad things happen? And they always say, it wasn't because there's a lack of good people, there's a lack of good people doing something, right? And something about all of the men with the vision and the passion on the heart to do something who took that first, second, or even 10th step and said, this is too hard, or I'm not making progress, or I thought it'd be different, and they just give it up, right? Like, and just being able to pivot that. And that's the way, to me, again, to counteract the bad, if you will, that we see in society, is there's so many amazing people, have so many gifts and so much to offer the world, but they squander it, you know? And that's the only reason why the other people are doing it, is because they don't stop. So if you look at anyone in leadership or in power in the world, the only difference to me that they have apart from the rest of us is they didn't stop in their vision. So if you don't like their vision, then shit, get the whole, the intestinal fortitude to keep on pushing through. So awesome that you have that roadmap, or the golden path available to people, dude. Awesome. Wouldn't expect anything less from you.
Yeah, dude, it's sick. And honestly, what you're saying, the whole purpose of my coaching and all this is like, my mission is to lead that revolution of love and nature connection. But within that, the reason I'm leading that and teaching that is to get people's gifts out in the world for exactly the reason you said, because we need to flood the world with more light. And if we have people who aren't able to face these challenges and overcome them and work through their shadows and clear their energetic channels to be able to give their gift, then the darkness will take over, right? And that may sound dark, but like, that's the truth. Like, we have to get that's another reason. I'll end on this. That's another reason I've been able to go towards my vision, is that I feel it now, that this is my soul's purpose. I must do this. Like, this is my mission. This is my purpose. And that, more than anything, keeps me going, like connecting with that emotional, like spirit, soul level purpose of like, no, I have to get my gift out into the world. So I have to be doing this, right? So that's where I'll end on that. And yeah. And honestly, for anyone listening to this, you have a gift. You want to be more of service. You want to like express more out into the world and bring more light. I'm here for you.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you get that gift out, because like, the world needs it. Like, the world literally needs you to be able to get your light out into the world. And I want to be able to help you do that. So yeah, all in all, man.
I just want to speak into that for you is, and not you, but the men listeners, don't judge whatever that light is. Sometimes we compare it to someone else's gift. I don't have an idea like Elon. You don't need the Elon Musk idea. You don't need that. You don't judge that. And I've seen you time and time again really help hold and support, a variety of people, but specifically men in our community, to access that. Because sometimes they're afraid to share that. They're afraid to birth it because they want someone to laugh at. And I've seen you time and time again, help coax it out of men, So that's to me, there's one of the major gifts that you have, is be able to create that container where it can thrive, So you're already living your mission, which is living other people's mission as well. So Yeah, good sip.
Yeah. Well, beautiful, bro. I feel like that's a great way to yeah, just kind of end this here.
Mhm.
But dude, just sending lots of love to you, man. Like I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you like offering this opportunity to create this container together just to jam because dude, I feel alive right now. So I really appreciate you yeah, just offering this and offering your time and your energy, man. This has been amazing.
Yeah, 100%. It was an easy yes to you, man. Like I said, I've been an admirer of you for at least the time we've been working together. So it was an easy yes. Yeah.
Heck yeah.